Ready, we ready, we ready for y'all. We ready, we ready, we ready for y'all.
Welcome back to Your Valley Sports Plug. This is our 2024 NFL season preview. The start of the season is tomorrow, Thursday, September 5th. I am absolutely pumped. We're here to talk about it. We're going to get our thoughts out on last season. We're going to talk about what's going on in the NFC West and how that's looking. Matt and Niko are going to give their season predictions. We have teams and players to watch and our top 5 players list. Fantasy, general, just top 5 players in the league, man. Usually those are the same, but plenty more in between that will, I'm sure, have come up as these streams usually tend to go off the rails at some point. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Chris Patrick, of course, with my co-host, Mr. Michael Benjamin, VSP Tallman, also joined by host of the Valley of the Suplex podcast, Niko, and Mr. T Jr., and the T stands for Too Many Margaritas. What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
Oh, man, I partied like Manziel a couple weekends ago. I had to pull out the Manziel jersey for you boys. Man, after 30, dude, those hangovers, brutal. Fun to be sober with you boys. I feel like I could judge a case right now, ready to judge some football.
The beautiful thing is, Matt, you got your namesake. Kyler Murray has joined your fantasy football squad. Fellas, we literally have one more sleep before the 2024 NFL season starts. I cannot even describe how excited I am for this NFL season and our Arizona Cardinals, but I'm sure we're going to get into that. How's everybody doing? I'm ready to go, Chris.
We're going to explain the jerseys? Because I feel really stupid right now.
Do we want to go around popcorn style and everyone say who they're wearing?
Yeah. I mean, I'll start. I'm wearing a Vikings jersey, and it is the bad man, Adrian Peterson. Don't give me a stick.
Oh my Lord!
Just kidding. That's a joke, but no.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did that, right?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
So
he definitely did.
It's just VSP Tallman here reporting. So, but it's all right though. But I might have to take this off in a little bit. I'm absolutely roasting.
Just turn your AC up, man. Come on,
dude. The flow, this front room, it just doesn't work.
The feng shui in Tallman's house does not work.
You were in my house last weekend. How fucking hot was it?
That's true.
I don't know. You just got to drink more, I guess. Mike, who are you wearing?
All right. Well, I got the personal. So I won this jersey, if you guys remember, way back when sports betting became legal and Caesar Sportsbook did a special promo when they started, the whole hoopla of sports betting, where if you bet $100 in the first week or so, or whatever, then you got a voucher for a free jersey. So thankfully, I put all $100 on the Las Vegas Raiders to win that game, and they somehow came back and won. But this is personalized. It has my name on the back, Benjamin. I don't know if you guys can see it. And I did 88 for the year that Arizona got the Arizona Cardinals. So got to represent, man.
I love it. Okay, we already know Matt's wearing Manziel. He let the cat out of the bag early. Niko,
I didn't know we were doing that. I wouldn't.
Well, I didn't either.
I feel disgusting wearing a fucking Browns jersey. Let that be noted.
As you should. Are you a big fan of Deshaun Watson?
Especially Manziel.
Manziel's a piece of shit. Watson, yeah, I like the massage thing. That was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Niko, who you got on, brother? Niko,
you're out right now.
There we go. Sorry.
My bad, boys. My internet is going in and out right now. It's back to real funky. I am rocking my personal opinion, the greatest running back of all time, Barry Sanders. stopping on a dime, making moves, making people look dumb before Mike Vick did it. It's the man, the legend, Barry.
Hell yeah. That's probably like the only like throwback jersey of the bunch. Because as I don't know if you can tell, I'm wearing number 12, Indianapolis Colts, Andrew Luck, baby. Biggest disappointment in football history, potentially. I think he was on pace to be a Hall of Famer.
No, he was good.
He was good. No, the
Dude, he
disappointing
was
thing was
great.
that the Colts were dog shit and didn't protect him, and he got beat up and bruised out of the league before he was even 30 years old or whatever. I was actually just pulled up his Wikipedia. He's turning 35
His
next
Wikipedia.
Thursday. Yeah,
In
so
Wikipedia we trust.
shout out Andrew Luck. But fellas, let's go ahead and get into this. Before we do, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in here live or listening back on the replay. Of course, we put all of our video podcasts out on streaming services, so you can listen back on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find our streams. Also, of course, right here on YouTube, Valley Sports Plug. And then make sure you're following us at AZ_VSP on Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads. Google search Valley Sports Plug and you will find us, I guarantee you. But again, thank you so much for being here. Guys, are you ready?
We ready. Let's go, man. I'm ready. Absolutely ready.
All right, so let's kind of start from the back and work forward. So by that I mean last season. We sat here on this very same panel doing our 2023 NFL previews. We went around and did our predictions, and I was the only one who said the Kansas City Chiefs would win the Super Bowl. And this was before Taylor Swift mania took over, before the scripts were written. I said it was going to be, actually, I don't know when the scripts were written. Let's make that clear. Could have been way far in advance, but I didn't get the script. I just used my big brain here and put the pieces together and basically decided the Chiefs were going to win. So that was my prediction. But Mike, what are your thoughts on how last season shook out?
To be honest with you fellas, it kind of went how we expected it, right? If you think about it, we knew the San Francisco 49ers were going to be a juggernaut. Man, I think there were some surprises as well. I thought that the Detroit Lions were going to take a leap forward. Didn't know they were going to go as heavy, just to ready to be competitors as they were, making it to the NFC Championship game. And if you guys really think about it, they choked that one away. They should have made it to the Super Bowl last year. But some obvious other surprises: Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love getting his first playoff win, CJ Stroud catapulting the Texans off of a 3-win season to a playoff win. Man, there were just some super awesome storylines last year. But at the end of the day, when it came down to the Super Bowl, I think you knew that the Kansas City Chiefs were going to be able to figure it out because of Patrick Mahomes. He is the ultimate winner. He figures out ways to get it done in the biggest games, even when he has major injuries, fellas. That's the crazy thing about it too. So awesome year last year. When you talk about the Arizona Cardinals, it was what we were expecting. But this year, I don't know. I think we're going to have some different expectations, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Oh yeah, if anyone listened to the last Heat Check podcast we put out where we did our predictions, compared to last season when we did our season predictions, the outlook was much different. Tallman, I think you had said it, playoff Patrick Mahomes is just a completely different animal. He's willing to put it on the ground, put it all on the line, put his body at risk. What were your takeaways from last season? Maybe not the Chiefs specifically, but what were some things you saw?
Yeah, well, my takeaways from your comments as you transitioned into this topic, I think you should go put your Taylor Swift shirt on already, Chris. I'm just kidding.
Shake it off, Tom. Shake it off.
Shake it off. Hey, I'm feeling 22, baby. Yeah, I mean, Patrick, what's crazy about the Chiefs season last year was, I mean, they had such a slow start. I mean, they shifted from being an offensive juggernaut to an outstanding defensive team where, they weren't outscoring people by, 3 touchdowns. They were playing good defense. And I mean, just with Mahomes, I mean, if you remember at the end of the season or towards the end of the season, I think they lost a couple games in a row. I think they lost to the Raiders. So it was looking pretty dim for them. But the thing that makes Patrick Mahomes the best player, little foreshadowing for myself here. is just the way he plays in the highest leverage situations where the guy always pulls through. He always makes that unbelievable play. And I mean, Mike, you mentioned it. The dude is just tough as nails, and he plays through every injury. So I wasn't ultimately that surprised when they made it to the Super Bowl. I think my Super Bowl prediction lost all possibility within maybe 2 or 3 snaps into a typical New York Jets season. But that is because I picked the Jets to be in the Super Bowl. I think to play the 49ers. I can't remember. But I mean, my biggest takeaway from last season was how it was so good to feel about our football team, the Arizona Cardinals, when they only won 4 games. I mean, we had the first season of Gannon, the first season of Austin Fort, and just that new culture and that new feeling. I mean, we knew we weren't going to have, our franchise quarterback for half the year. We knew we weren't going to compete, but, just the feeling we got about those new people in the building, just how tough this team played last season. It was good. I mean, it catapulted us into an offseason where I was like, holy crap, if we can carry this into the next season, we have something special here. So that was my biggest takeaway, is being excited about a 4-win Arizona Cardinals football team.
Yeah, not too much to be excited about for the Cardinals last season. So we kind of had to find solace in enjoying other aspects of football. Chiefs, the whole nother animal. I don't want to just talk about the Chiefs tonight, guys, I promise, but it's inevitable. They won the Super Bowl last year. What are you going to do? Matt, in that vein, what about you? What are you thinking about last season?
Pat Mahomes brought the dad bod back. I think that's awesome. Seeing those pictures of him, I was like, all right, dude, it's nice to be skinny fat. VSP touched on it. I think three snaps into it, we saw Aaron Rodgers drop like a fly, and that's all you heard all offseason was the Jets doing this, the Jets doing that. So I think that's kind of cool to see how that's going to translate into this next year and see that whole storyline build up, because everybody's saying that Aaron Rodgers is going to be great and have all this. I hate you guys talking about Kirkland. No more of that. Set the record straight. No more Kirkland talk. God damn it. I had to read that. That's amazing. But no, yeah, I think that was a big takeaway. I think the early start to the Chiefs season and how slow it was, we all heard about them having to get, new receivers and this and that, or is Kelce washed up? Is this going to be it? And then he had a little bit of that Taylor Swift blood pumped into him and turned into a god again. I love it. His mustache is amazing. I'm jealous. I'm going to shave mine to look just like him. But yeah, I think the best thing also was watching the return of Kyler. I know it was kind of like an 80% Kyler Murray, but realistically, I mean, he played 8 games, went 3-5. One of the games, the last game of the year, we should have won, but thank God we lost because it gave us our draft pick to get Maserati Marv. So good thing. But if you go and look at the actual game, Kyler fucking balled out, dude. So I think I'm really excited to see that growth. His whole, he's really onto the whole team thing. He's doing all the social media stuff, showing up for all the things where they're doing the videos and stuff. Like, I felt like I never really saw him do any of that shit. So I'm excited to see what Gannon does. I think that's the big takeaway, was kind of Kyler for me, was just seeing him come back. Is he going to be the same? Is he going to be able to run? What's that going to look like? But yeah, no, we're good.
Shots, explosions, John Gannon, baby. Matt, no, you bring up a good point there. Like, I haven't fully considered it, but I guess it's kind of obvious. Like, the Kyler injury was huge, man. I mean, everything happens for a reason, because you mentioned 3-5 with Kyler. So our season, probably still wouldn't have made the playoffs, but would have likely looked much different had Kyler been starting. A couple of those close games we could have won, we probably would have. I'm not nervous to say that. So I think that is also plays into, like I was saying, last year being a lot more pessimistic in our season preview, knowing that we were going to have, I don't even think we knew we were going to have Josh Dobbs when we do our predictions, because that came out like the weekend before, like 1 week, 8 days before the beginning of the season. So we did our predictions even without Josh Dobbs, and I don't think we were very far off even at that, which just shows that, like, Josh Dobbs, Clayton Tune, Colt McCoy, whoever you threw out there, they were going to be trash and not really help us too much. Yeah, Josh Dobbs did have a few surprising games. We beat the Cowboys. That was really cool. But other than that, but I'm trying to say, basically leading up to it happens for a reason. And without that, we wouldn't have gotten Marvin Harrison Jr., which haven't played a snap yet. We don't know how big of an impact that's going to be, but he's been labeled a generational talent. Everyone saw what he did at Ohio State. I know I'm fucking stoked that we got Marvin Harrison Jr. I would say one of the most disappointing things for me about 2023 was going into that season. If you looked at the like Tankathon or any of these way too early mock drafts, they predicted that the Cardinals would have the first pick and the Texans would have the second pick. And guess who had that Texans first round pick last year? We did. We fucking did. But instead, CJ Stroud ended up being an absolute animal and taking his team to the playoffs. And, you know, our pick dropped. I mean, first round pick's a first round pick. It's hard to miss. But, you know, so I'll take it at the end of the day. But damn, how sweet would it have been to draft 1 and 2 or even 1 and 5? I don't know, man. Things to think about. But Niko, don't want to miss you. Don't want to not give you your opportunity. What were your thoughts on last season?
As much as this is going to pain me to say, I heard this earlier today, and it's very true. You can count on 3 things. That's death, taxes, and right now the 49ers are a fucking good football team. And that sucks, man. NFC West, that sucks because, like, I haven't wanted to give them kudos. I haven't wanted to give them their flowers. I have not wanted to give Brock Purdy his due. It's a good-looking football team, man. And I think that they put that out there. I think my other big takeaway, kind of piggybacking on what Matt and a little bit what you were saying, Chris, Kyler, the way Kyler looked. I was there in Atlanta, or I was there when we played Atlanta, and Kyler's comeback game. He looked fucking phenomenal live in person. He looked unbelievable. That was inspiring. Watching the way that team bought in behind Kyler and Gannon was inspiring, at least for a fan base. I don't know when the last time we bought in behind a coach. Probably Bruce Arians, if I had to guess. You know, so I was very pleased with that. Also, like, man, the Texans are going to be a team to look out for. That was my big takeaway out of the AFC. I know everybody wants to talk the Chiefs. CJ Stroud came in and did things a rookie quarterback has not done, like, ever, man. That's what you do when you play with a rookie quarterback on Madden. Like, I used to pull a random draftee and, like, play with Easton Stick and just, like, go off. But, like, CJ Stroud did some unprecedented shit.
Probably not. We haven't probably seen a rookie perform like that since, I don't know, Ben Roethlisberger making it to the AFC conference
Relaxed
finals.
over there.
I'm just saying.
He had to find a way to throw Pittsburgh into there.
Good
I
Lord.
mean, he's unfortunately not wrong, but, like, gross. You know, or Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was a phenomenal rookie quarterback out the bat too. But yeah, man, CJ Stroud, it took everything in my being not to just draft all Texans players during fantasy football this year. So if I'm hedging my bets, it's in Houston. But yeah, those are my takeaways.
It's crazy to think about where CJ Stroud has already come from being not the number 1 overall pick, right? And a lot of people are already questioning, should he have gone over Bryce Young, right? But time will tell. At the end of the day, Chris, you did bring up Pittsburgh, and I'd be remiss if I didn't throw out my one final last thought from last season, which was going to Pittsburgh to that Monday Night Football game against the Cleveland Browns, seeing Nick Chubb, unfortunately, just absolutely snap his leg, but being in a different type of environment outside of Arizona and seeing that type of a fan base, man, that was something that was truly an eye-opener for myself. And it was cool, man, because I don't think I've ever been to a football game that wasn't either a bowl game. I've been to San Diego, been to Las Vegas, seen plenty of Cardinals games as well. But that was a cool momentum that I'll take with me from last season as well.
Yeah, and we got to see Nick Chubb have a season-ending injury right there on the field before our very eyes. That was not so cool. I will say that was not so cool. Even the Steelers fans were like, "Ooh, that's not good." But I know it's not uncommon in football stadiums, and I'm sure Pittsburgh's not the worst. But man, those fans could drink. There were some. Matt, you thought those margaritas messed you up. Whatever they were drinking in Pittsburgh, man, it was something else. It was hard to understand. since we're talking about the Steelers, Mike, since you wanted to keep this conversation going, I think another cool thing for me from last season was that the Steelers had no business being good with Kenny Pickett. Like, they're really trying to rebuild on the fly. But Mike Tomlin, 16 seasons in a row over 500, the longest in NFL to begin a coaching career. Mike Tomlin is the GOAT. Like, that franchise, the Steelers have had like 6 or 7 quarterback or head coaches in their entire existence, while the Cardinals have had 6 or 7 head coaches in the last 15 years. It just, I don't know what point I'm trying to make with that, other than to say, like, I hope John Gannon is here for a while. But Mr. T, I'm sorry, VSP Tallman.
Next topic.
Mixing up the Tallmans here. Niko kind of got me thinking when he said that we probably haven't bought into a head coach since Bruce Arians. Did you at any point buy into Cliff Kingsbury and like the whole experiment there with his pairing with Kyler?
Yeah, I mean, come on, we started 7-0. We were 10-2 at one point in that 2021 season. I was drinking the Kool-Aid for sure. And then you just saw it unravel right in front of your eyes. You saw how immature Kyler Murray was when he got his ass kicked by the Rams in the wild card. And then it goes into the next season and you see him screaming at each other on the sideline. So then we watched that locker room when we also don't know. We don't know what that locker room's like. Did Cliff ever have a hold on that locker room? But what happened the season after that awesome season we had where AJ Green didn't turn around? I think that was the turning point of that season. But the next season, we watched him lose grip, any grip that he had, lose grip of that team. But yeah, I mean, for a hot minute, I was drinking the Kool-Aid, man.
Tom, I can answer that question though, as to if Cliff ever had control of the locker room. The answer is no. He never had control of the locker room. He wanted to be one of the boys. He wanted to be the cool dad. And it really cemented it for me watching that season of Hard Knocks where motherfucker was making pancakes in the team meeting room. Bro,
you won't let that one go.
I will never let that go. How unserious do you have to be to let a motherfucker make pancakes? If I see a dude whipping up pancakes in a team meeting, I'm making him run bleacher miles for the next 4 hours straight. Like, I swear to God, Cliff never had control of that.
Do we remember?
Bro, if they put chocolate chips in it, it's okay.
He was a lineman.
If I was a coach, I'd be like, oh, dude, get the calories in, big guy.
Yeah.
I might look that up.
Well, our lines. Was it our line?
Yeah, it was on.
Oh yeah.
What
Oh, never
Hard
mind.
Knocks or...
We fucking suck, dude. You don't get to eat.
Yeah, it was Hard Knocks, right?
Yeah, it was on Hard Knocks. Yeah, I forgot who was it. It was a younger guy.
Oh, I do remember that.
Anyway, but no, I mean first off, he was the offensive coordinator. I mean, you got to let that go. You got to be the head coach. And that's exactly what Gannon's doing right now. And, he just couldn't let go of being the offensive coordinator. And I agree with you. I mean, I know I said we didn't know if he ever had a hold of that team, but it's clearly obvious now that he didn't, and maybe he never did.
Yeah. Hard to say. Beast Mode Sports Cards says, hi. What up, Beast Mode Sports Cards? By your name, I'm wondering if you're a Seahawks fan, which is honestly going to be a perfect transition for us to start talking about the NFC West and moving into this upcoming season that starts tomorrow. So the NFC West, man, we have, of course, everybody knows it's the 49ers, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. Not necessarily in that order. I think that's what we're probably going to try and parse out here. So, Mr. T Jr., I'll toss this over to you first. How difficult of a division do you think the NFC West is going to be for these teams?
Oh, God. I think obviously we know who the top dog is. Everybody knows it's the 49ers show kind of when it comes to our division. It's going to be really, I think, how does Stafford play? I feel like he's definitely gotten a little bit older as far as that goes. How's he going to be? There's no more Aaron Donald. Thank fucking God. So, yes, I was so scared he was going to come back. I'm pretty sure he's completely embracing steroids at this point. So there might be no return from him, thankfully. So, yeah, that I think is going to be kind of interesting to see how their defense plays. I know Sean McVay, there was a bunch of talk a couple years ago or even this last year that he wasn't going to be coaching. And then we have the Seahawks, I think Geno Smith sucks. I don't think he was ever good for the Jets. I just don't think he's a good quarterback. I think he's definitely a bridge quarterback. But it's going to be a tough one. I definitely think the Cardinals, unfortunately, might finish third or fourth. I don't see us finishing top two. If we do, it'll be really cool. I won't complain, but definitely a stronger division when it looks, when you look at the teams and what they've done the last couple of years outside of Arizona, because we haven't done much except for the 2021 season. We were 10-2 and then shit the bed for the next 2 years. So yeah, tough division. It's going to be a dogfight, dog eat dog, which is unfortunate.
And we know Kyler's got that dog in him. I think obviously everyone knows you can write San Francisco in for the division winners, but I think it's closer for this number 2 spot than a lot of people think. I know the Rams are still riding a high of people thinking they're really good, but Mike, you said it. Matt Stafford's not getting any younger. That team is not getting any younger. We saw Cooper Kupp take a huge step back last year. Yeah, they have Puka Nacua, but right, Matt, no Aaron Donald. So I think the Rams are a bit of a question mark. It could go either way. With the Seahawks, if anyone's putting them over the Cardinals, it might be not too unfounded, but I would say with the Seahawks, I don't think that they're going to be that good. Like you said, Geno Smith is trash. From what I've heard, DK Metcalf has been kind of a menace. He was fighting dudes. Like I think he got in like 2 or 3 fights in one of the practices, and not even a joint practice, just like a regular practice with his teammates. Tyler Lockett's getting up there. He's about to be 32 years old. So as VSP Tallman would say, he's past his prime. I'd like to see the Cardinals secure or be close to securing the number 2 spot in the NFC West. I don't think it's impossible, but I think the Rams are going to be the biggest hurdle more than the Seahawks. I don't know, Mike. What do you think?
Oh, you're exactly right. At this point, there's a lot of people in the national media pundits who are putting the Rams into a wild card spot. So they must be trusting that Matthew Stafford just isn't over the hill yet. But lots of question marks for that team right now, fellas. I mean, when they announced that Kyron Williams was going to be their punt returner, I looked at myself and I said, oh, okay. How is your bell cow back going to be your punt returner as well? I mean, like we have Greg Dortch returning kicks, but for the most part, not until halfway through the season, he wasn't a starter, right? They must really love Blake Corum. But Puka Nacua, second year, I mean, he's going to have a lot to prove if they're expecting to be a playoff team. Cooper Kupp is getting a little bit older, like you said, as well. I don't know. I think they still scare me just with what Sean McVay has been able to do for years and years now as a head coach in this league. He continues to get the best out of his guys. But yeah, when we talk about the Seattle Seahawks, I'll transition to them, guys. They're in full transition mode right now with the head coach as well. And Geno Smith had his coming out party after he was just absolutely horrible when he was drafted for the New York Jets, right? That time, I think, is done. They do have some nice young pieces with their running back in Kenneth Walker Jr. and the second-year receiver in Jackson Smith-Njigba, but I don't trust them. I know there's been a lot of people who say, I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks might be a top 10 defensive team. That's great, but if you can't put points on the board, what does it matter at the end of the day? So the Arizona Cardinals are banking on scoring a lot of points, and just hopefully the defense is middle of the road at that point. So number 2 is not off the table in the NFC West. The hurdle is just too high to jump over the San Francisco 49ers, especially after they've gotten everything squared away with Brandon Ayuk. And who is the left tackle, guys? Help me out here. Trent Williams.
Yeah.
So that hurdle is just too high. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder to get back to the Super Bowl and win this time. But number 2 is not off the table for the Cardinals.
No, not at all. And I think it's crazy that after 2 pretty solid seasons, I'd say there's still seems to be a lot of question marks around Brock Purdy and his capabilities, and whether it's his offensive weapons or if it's just him. But it's honestly not going to matter because they have all of the same weapons. They have their Christian McCaffrey, their Deebo Samuel. They just re-signed Brandon Ayuk. They have George Kittle. Like, they're going to be just fine. Now, all those guys are getting older. Christian McCaffrey is one twisted ankle away from being out for the entire season. George Kittle has just been kind of terrible the past 2 years. He hasn't really produced, and I say that as a fantasy football owner more than anything. Obviously, don't give a shit about the 49ers. But what Mike said about Kyron Williams doing punt returns, I didn't know that. As a Kyron Williams fantasy owner, that scares me quite a bit. But VSP Tallman, I guess, what are your thoughts on the NFC West coming up?
Chris going to do a little audible before the season starts and add return yards to our fantasy league, huh?
I'm doing it as we speak.
There you go. Yeah, so 49ers, I mean, I think out of the bunch here, I've said it multiple times on streams last season. You guys know I'm a Brock Purdy fan. I think he's the real deal. Is he a product of the system? Maybe, but he's also the kid doesn't miss. I mean, he's just too good. And he's a hometown kid. Come on. So 49ers are, I mean, when we do our prediction here, I mean, that would be my pick right there. They're a lock to make to the Super Bowl again. And they're just too good. You know, they're too good. The defense is too good. And the offense is just too high powered for a lot of teams in the NFL. But going to the Rams, I mean, you lose one of the best defensive players of all time with the Rams, and people are still so high on them. And I mean, Matthew Stafford's a good quarterback. I mean, how old is he now? He's got to be old as hell, but he can still play, you know, and Kyron Williams is good. I mean, all it takes for that offense is Cooper Kupp to wake the fuck up. And then I think they're going to be pretty dangerous, but a lot of the national media is really high on them. I get it. I mean, they made the playoffs last season, right? Did they? I can't remember. I think they did. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But then, so I think the Rams are definitely our biggest hurdle. I don't think. Well, okay. So here, for us to finish above any of these teams in the standings, we got to beat them. We got to win a division game. We've won one divisional game in the last 2 years. Like, I mean, it's just what happens. Like, so Rams, I don't know. Rams are going to be tough for us. I think the Seahawks are they're closer to where we're at. Defensively, though, Seattle's way more talented than we are. There's a reason why the Cardinals are ranking at the back end of the league in defense, because we're just not that talented. But I mean, again, if Seattle sees Geno catch some lightning in a bottle again, like he did the one season, and not get hurt, stay healthy, then I don't know. I think we could finish at the end or at the bottom of the NFC West. But it's tough, man. This is like the Diamondbacks playing that we have to play against the Dodgers and the Padres. It's like, why can't we catch a breakout here? Why can't we be in the AFC South? You know. But we always got to deal with 49ers. I mean, when the 49ers sucked, the Rams were incredible, and the Seahawks were incredible forever with Russ Wilson. So it's like, you know, we can't catch a break, but it's going to be tough, you know, but I'm okay with it. I mean, as a fan, it's exciting that we're in one of the toughest divisions in football. I think the AFC North has, you know, that title as the toughest division, but I think NFC West is pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're talking like historically and looking at it through the scope of the last 10, 15 years, the NFC West has been maybe one of the toughest divisions in the NFC. AFC North is just unparalleled. It's absolutely unreal, that division and the talent they have. And then they just continue to be good. Pretty much all those teams except the Browns, which I guess they're starting to find some success. But keeping it topical, talking about the NFC West, Niko, I was just looking, Pro Football Focus released their preseason power rankings, and they have the Cardinals ranked 31st. We've talked ad nauseum about the national media, their perception of the Cardinals. They clearly don't watch or cover the Cardinals. They just look at box scores. I think I know your answer, but is 31st fair?
Fuck no. It's tone deaf. You're literally not paying attention to what is happening, what's been happening last year, the moves that the organization has made. I don't think it's very fair. But this has been since we were kids, gentlemen. The Phoenix Suns were one of the best basketball teams in the NBA, and we had to scratch and claw to get any kind of coverage on SportsCenter. So I don't know. I feel like this is what we get for look. We're a major city. Phoenix is a major city. We're not a major market as far as like sports are concerned, and that's a damn shame. As far as the NFC West goes, guys, this is like the NFC West for me is always the biggest question mark division, like period. We're either the best division in football or it's the Niners beating everybody by like 6 games. I'm not going to spoil my predictions for the Cardinals, but I obviously have the Niners finishing atop the standings. I got the Cardinals finishing second, boys. I have the Rams in third, and I have the Seahawks in fourth. The Seahawks are the biggest question mark to me in all of football right now. They have the potential and the pieces to be like a really good football team, but do they have everything to like put it together? Like, I don't know. After spending a lot of time in the Pacific Northwest, they are very passionate and very stubborn about their football team, and they will tell you that they're going to go to the Super Bowl. Kenneth Walker Jr. is going to be a fucking MVP. It's just not the damn case. But yeah, the NFC West is a very interesting division. I actually think the strongest division in football by the end of the year might be the NFC North, if I'm being completely honest with you. Oh God, my camera now. But yeah, no, that's my take on the NFC West. I think we got a lot of competition, but I do think that I think Cardinals are going to be a lot better than people think this year.
Yeah, I think you kind of sent me back with that NFC North prediction there. Yeah, no, I don't think you're completely wrong. Caleb Williams obviously going to try and turn the Bears around, pick up where Justin Fields left off. I think the only thing is the Vikings are going to be trash. Like they got rid of Kirk, they don't have JJ McCarthy. Like I don't know what they're going to do, but they still have Justin Jefferson. Maybe they figure it out. Do they have TJ Hawkinson? Is he on the Vikings now? Yeah.
Yes, he is. He's missed like the first 5 games though.
They have fucking
perfect.
Sam Darnold.
Is he the one who got?
You say that like that's good.
Is he the one who got?
No, he's gonna be terrible.
What was he got like mono or something like that? That was Sam Darnold.
It was either was it him or Zach Wilson?
I was about to say it was either him or Zach Wilson.
I think Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson was the moms. Sam Darnold was the mono.
Sam Darnold also saw ghosts, I believe, in New England. Is what he was quoted.
That's right.
On the sidelines.
Well, to be fair, there are probably a lot of ghosts in New England. I mean, especially that part of
that sounds like a head injury to me.
Comes with the territory, right?
Yeah, you play for the Jets. I think those just come naturally.
Yeah, no, easily. Niko, I like it. Cards finishing second. I'm fully in support of that because I think the one biggest thing, we've all been Valley sports fans our entire lives. That's why we launched this whole podcast. So we know that when a team in the Valley has high expectations, what do? We shit the bed and underperform. When there are absolutely no expectations, there's nowhere to go but up. So I think, Mike, what were my predictions again? 8 and 9?
8 and 9, and Tallman and I were both at 9 and 8. But that's a different story, Chris. Like that's the epitome of mid, right? What are our expectations when we're mid, when we expect them to be mid? I don't know. This is going to be an interesting year, fellas, to say the least.
Well, and that's what I was just about to say is that I don't think it's not unrealistic that this team could win 10 games. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy here. Obviously, I just mentioned on the Heat Check podcast, you, me, and VSP Tallman, we did our season predictions. I was 8 and 9. You guys reached 9 and 8. But we got Niko and Mr. T Jr. here. So let's go ahead and ask them. I'll start with Matt. Maybe don't go game by game, but you could pick out a couple if you got.
I can fly through the games because I'm not going to actually talk about the games. But
go for it.
I didn't watch anything as far as you guys' predictions, and I too have us finishing at 9 and 8. So good to see that we're all on board here. At Bills, I have us losing week 1. Sorry. Rams at home, win. Lions at home, loss. Commanders, the return of Cliff Kingsbury, I have us as a win, hopefully. At 49ers, loss. At Green Bay, a loss. Chargers, win. At Miami, a loss. Bears, win. Jets, loss. at Seahawks, win. At Vikings, fuck the Vikings, win. Seahawks, loss at home. Patriots at home, win. At Carolina, win. At LA, Rams, loss. And 49ers at home to finish it off because they're going to be resting everybody, a win.
Okay, so within that, I obviously wasn't writing that down, your rapid fire
No,
selections.
you're good. Yeah.
Do you have us splitting with the Rams, or do you have us losing 2 to the Rams?
I have us splitting with the Rams. I have us winning week 2 at home. Us going to LA week 17, being a little banged up and everything like that. I have us losing.
Because Mike Tallman, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think that was one of the biggest differentiators where you and Tallman said that we were going to go 1-1 against the Rams, and I think we're going to go 0-2 against the Rams.
No, Tallman thought that we were going to beat them both times because he has no faith in the Los Angeles Rams.
Who does he? I'm
if I'm not
interested.
mistaken. But yeah, I said the split. I was differentiated. I wasn't sure if they'd be able to go week 2 and beat them just because, man, it seems like the Rams always come here and handle business. So then I gave them the win in week 17 because I need the win. That one was where I kind of just threw things out the window and I was like, I just need a win against the damn Rams, please. So I picked them there. But honestly, Matt, I'm aligned with you. You could see them coming. You know, if they do lose in Buffalo and it's a tight game, they can have some good camaraderie starting to build and then just really explode. Because then you get to see the comfortability of being at home for 3 straight weeks as well. So if you can get off on the right foot right away, who knows, man? This team could be 3-1 because that was one of the other things we talked about too. Where's that Dallas Cowboys win on the schedule this year, right? That just shocker against the team that should really handle business against the Arizona Cardinals this year. Could be the Lions, but I don't know. I feel like it makes sense that you and Tallman are brothers. Pretty sure your entire pick was the exact same as Tallman. So are you sure you didn't watch episode 32, man?
No, I didn't watch anything, but yeah, I think week 1's a big tell for us to see. If we do lose, it's going to be a close game, and that's going to be what's going to set the tone, and everyone's going to put us on the map finally and not be 18 months, 24 months in the past living like we just lost Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, it's time to start moving forward and pushing the needle. I think one thing that we had talked about and the biggest benefits of this schedule is our coldest game is going to be that week 16 matchup with the Panthers. We're absolutely, honestly lucky that we're playing the Bills week 1. Buffalo in September is probably going to be pretty nice. I'd imagine the weather's not going to be too bad. Miami in October is obviously going to be just fine. Minnesota plays in a dome, so that doesn't matter. And everything else is pretty much gravy. Like I don't really see a problem with it weather-wise. But Matt, just to ask you one more follow-up question here and put you on the spot. If you had to pick one game to be a potential upset out of the losses you picked, which one do you think it could be?
At Green Bay. I think us going to Lambeau Field, what is that, week 6? Is that like the Thanksgiving game? Like that
October 13th.
Is that October 13th? So I guess it's not too cold. Yeah, I think, Jesus Christ. I think that's God, my dog's a little alarm clock. I think that's going to be the big one. At Green Bay, I think that's the one where people are like, oh shit. Like, okay, we turn off Jordan Love and we just starch their fucking defense. The Kyler show at Lambeau. Yeah. I hope that's the one that puts us kind of where people look at us as a team and not the Cliff Kingsbury sideshow shit thing.
Yeah, that's what I really want to see is like, not that it matters and fuck the national media, but I'd like to see the narrative shift a little bit and see that, have them at least acknowledge that Jonathan Gannon is having this franchise turn the corner. Monty Ossenfort is not Steve Keim. Like this franchise, I truly believe is heading in a better direction with true leadership at the helm. I've had my criticisms of Ossenfort. John Gannon can be a little bit of a weird guy, but I think he's starting to find his footing. Niko with the jersey change here, just in time to give us his Arizona Cardinals season predictions.
All right, guys. I took this one game at a time, went through the schedule, and then did not look at my win-loss until after I added everything up. I have our Cardinals going 10-7 this year, gentlemen. A little bit shocking to me, to be honest with you. I went through the schedule very carefully. I'll spit off some here. Obviously, I have us losing week 1 to the Bills. I got us beating LA in week 2, losing to Detroit, winning against Washington, losing to San Francisco, losing in Green Bay in October only due to weather. We got a win against the Chargers, a loss against the Dolphins, a win against the Bears, a win against the Jets. We got that beautiful bye week. Then we have, I got us rattling off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-game winning streak at the back end of the season, gentlemen. I see us beating the Seahawks, the Vikings, the Seahawks again, the Patriots, and the Panthers before we suffer another loss. Once this team gets going, I think it's going to be really hard to stop, man. I think we've completely bought in. I do have us losing to LA again. Splitting the series with LA and losing in the back half of the season. And then I have us dropping both games to San Francisco to end the season. 10-7 is my prediction this year.
See, like I said, 10 wins, not unrealistic. I like the optimistic approach, Niko. VSP Tallman, what do you think of these guys' predictions? Pretty close to what we were thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they both picked us to beat the Bears at home, right?
I did. I think Caleb Williams is going to be really good, though. I think Caleb Williams is filthy, bro.
I think that's a really tough game for us to win.
That's a tough game. And their offense is their offense. That's for future in the podcast.
So I think I picked us to lose that game, which sucks because I have to go to that fucking Chicago game.
Oh, that's true.
I've been to Chicago game, but this is at home, is it not? Or is this in Chicago?
It might as well just be in Chicago.
Yeah, it might
as well. You consider all the Bears fans.
Holy Lord.
I'm not going to Illinois, Niko. It's at home.
I was going to say, I've seen us in Illinois. We played well in the freezing rain. I'd take us in Illinois, too.
Yeah, but this is a completely different Bears team.
So I also picked the Cardinals to lose against the Bears. I'm telling you guys, I went to the last game that the Chicago Bears were here in Arizona, which was Sam Bradford's last game in the NFL. When he fumbled that football and he looked straight into the camera and he knew that his career was over, and it was Josh Rosen to come in, throw 2 picks, and we lost. We only gave up field goals. It was a horrible experience, guys. I'm telling you, it was 75% Bears fans. And after the Bears won, coming down from the second level, there was just Chicago chants coming down. So that's why I say it might as well just play it in Chicago. It's going to be a Bears home style of game. But yeah, Caleb Williams is already showing that he's too crazy. And I know, Chris, I'll pass it over to you because you think that Caleb Williams is still a rookie, right? So the Cardinals are going to be able to get that done. But there's just something different when Chicago travels here to Arizona, man. There's always something different.
Yeah, it's like, and even in that, because we were talking about the hype video that the Cardinals put out, which was amazing, probably the best one in almost 10 years. And you had pointed to the 2015 hype video that they put out. And within that video, I thought it was interesting. I don't know if I'm reading into it, but they said that basically the Cardinals don't necessarily have a home field advantage, but they have a home field edge. And I think that's a great way to put it because, there are still a lot of Cardinals fans there, but it can sometimes be 50-50 or, depending on who we're playing, whether it's the Bears or the Packers or any team that's doing good, the bandwagon's going to come out and show out because as we always discuss, at least every couple months, this is the transplant state. This is where everyone moves to avoid that cold weather, come enjoy our nice winters where they can't shovel sunshine. And it's great. But yeah, no, with Caleb Williams, he is still a rookie. But as we talked about CJ Stroud, he came in, turned that Texans team around. They made the playoffs. And a lot of people would probably say that they think Caleb Williams has a higher ceiling than CJ Stroud even does. I mean, even going back last season, I mean, obviously the NFL game is completely different from college, but you look at even just the comparisons from Bryce Young to CJ Stroud. And you can even throw Brock Purdy in there because it's also about who you have around you. And the Bears, they don't have like the most top tier of offensive weapons, but they have some pieces. They have some guys that Caleb Williams is going to be able to work with. Now, his last season at USC was a bit disappointing for him, but a lot of people pointed to the O-line and the defense for USC kind of sucking ass. And I saw a lot of memes after USC had that clutch win this last Saturday, where people were saying like Caleb Williams was probably pissed watching the defense actually hold up and play well. Yeah, we have this private chat going here in the stream. Niko's saying he might have had some senioritis at USC, just ready to get to the NFL and start making waves. But all that to say that at the end of the day, he is still a rookie. Kyler is now at this point a seasoned veteran, and we're in our second season. Now we have a full healthy second season of John Gannon, full healthy Kyler Murray. Yeah, we got some pieces that are banged up, but I think there are going to be some surprising wins in here. And I don't think it's unrealistic that the Bears could be one of them. Yeah, anybody have any additional thoughts on the Cardinals season coming up and predictions wise?
I'm just pumped for football, boys. This is like fun. I can't believe we're already like here. I can't believe we're talking like Cardinal football. I am so ready for. I know that there's a practice tomorrow, but like I am so ready for football to start, and I cannot wait for the ball to be kicked. Week 1, Buffalo this Sunday. Man, it's gonna be fun, guys. I cannot wait.
Man, it's going to be crazy. And I think there's even a Friday night game, isn't it? It's like Green Bay and
Yep.
Are they
Green
playing
Bay and the Philadelphia Eagles?
Is that game in
or something?
It's in
It's
Brazil, right?
Yeah.
It is.
Oh wait, sorry, Tallman, I said that wrong. It's the Philadelphia Eagles.
There you go.
Well,
Come correct.
if you're in Brazil watching that game, you won't be able to tweet about it, which kind of a bummer, but you guys heard about that?
You also won't be able to wear green to the game for both
Dude, you
teams
couldn't
wearing
pay
green.
me to go to Brazil to fucking watch that game.
Yeah, Brazil is probably not on my list of places to visit, although could be cool. But regardless, yeah, we'll just have to see how close our predictions were. Like I said, last season was pretty close. This season, we're 8, 9, 10 wins between the 5 of us. So probably somewhere in that range. I'd be surprised if it was under. I'd be more surprised if it was over. But we'll just have to see how it shakes out. But guys, let's keep things pushing. Got a few more topics here on the docket. And looking at teams and players to watch for this upcoming 2024-2025 season. This is separate from our top 5 players list. But Mike, I'll go ahead and shoot this over to you first. Who's on your radar for who to watch?
I love it. I love going first. So guys, I'm going to go with 2 teams that I'm keeping my eye on for this season, as well as 2 different players. And I'm doubling down on the team that I had to watch last year, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Christian Kirk just always holds a little special place in my heart because he is a Valley kid. We were so impressed with his start in the Arizona Cardinals franchise and organization. And unfortunately, he was just ready to move on towards the end of those Cliff Kingsbury years. So I'm always pulling for him. If you think about where the Jaguars were last year as well, they started off hot, right? They were 8-3, and then they lost 5 of their last 6 games to not make the playoffs. But is this a Trevor Lawrence bounce back year? I hope so. I think, it's year 4, and I really like the additions of Gabe Davis as well as their first-round draft pick, Brian Thomas Jr. But I think my biggest thing is I just have an affinity for Christian Kirk. I'm always pulling for them, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on them. And then we just had a long discussion, so I'll keep it short, guys. My other team I'm looking at is the Chicago Bears in the NFC North, right? What's going to happen with the running back room committee of Khalil Herbert and adding DeAndre Swift? If he can stay healthy, I think he is a big difference maker for a young quarterback in Caleb Williams, right? Another year with DJ Moore. You add the rookie Rome Odunze, who I think is, at the end of the day, is going to be either the best or the second best from this rookie crop of wide receivers. He just really has a high ceiling for me. And then underrated, adding Keenan Allen. I know he's old, but he's going to be just asked to be a possession catch receiver, and that's what he's done the best in his entire career, right? Adding Montez Sweat to the edge rush room last year was so huge for them. They have a solid secondary with Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon. They're going to be a team to watch for sure. All right. And then 2 players. They're both, or actually only one of them's on the graphic. Saquon Barkley, What does he do in year 7 coming into the Philadelphia Eagles? I'm very intrigued about this because I picked Jalen Hurts. How many tush pushes are taken away from Jalen Hurts because they have Saquon Barkley, right? I mean, Saquon's been more healthy over the past 3 seasons. He has 3,000-yard seasons, and he only missed 1,000 yards last year by 38 yards. But I'm really interested to see how he fits in with that squad, and I think they'll have a bounce-back year after really having a tough end to last year. And then you guys have talked about it again. C.J. Stroud, does he have a second-year slump? Over 4,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, only 5 picks. He just had an absolutely stellar showing in his first playoff game with that blowout win against the Browns. Then they ran into the buzzsaw, which was the Baltimore Ravens, who last year I had picked to win the Super Bowl. So I was close, Chris, but I don't know. That's who I'm looking at, fellas. A lot of information thrown at you right there, but man, yeah. I don't know. I'm pulling for the Jaguars, man. Let's go. Come on, Trevor Lawrence. Get it done this year, man.
The Jaguars?
Hell yeah, man. Why not?
Okay. I don't hate it. Travis Etienne's beast.
Okay, I will say this. I probably pull for the Jaguars because their fan base has probably been through as much shit as the Arizona Cardinals fan base has in the AFC. They've been so bad forever, and they've only scratched the surface of making AFC championship game. What? How many times? Once or twice? Have they even been to the Super Bowl? So that's a fan base that's in turmoil. So I can align with them, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's easy to kind of casually root for the Jaguars because for pretty much their entire existence, they haven't really been too much of a threat. I remember anytime I would go to an arcade and they had NFL Blitz, I would pretty frequently use the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know who was on that team in whatever version I was playing, but it was always fun to play as Jacksonville. I don't know, man. I don't fully believe in Trevor Lawrence. I know he's now one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. He did really good at Clemson, but I don't know, man. I'm not as high on the Jaguars. They have Christian Kirk, our boy. They could be a dark horse. I don't think you're wrong there. But obviously, Mike, you came prepared. Let's see if VSP Tallman came as prepared to answer this question.
No, not really. Not as of maybe 5 minutes ago, but here we are. So you guys are going to love this. All right. So my team to watch is the New York Jets. Oh, no love for, okay.
Again?
Yeah. No, I picked the Jets for the Super Bowl last time. All right. So, okay.
Under 10 snaps before Aaron Rodgers tears his other Achilles.
Well over, man. He's got enough ayahuasca and whatever bullshit dark retreat he does. But, I mean, come on. So even when Aaron Rodgers was out, what was that team missing? I mean, they had a championship caliber defense. They just needed a quarterback, even someone that was serviceable. That team would have been a lot different last season. So this season, I mean, dude, if Rodgers can stay healthy for the whole season, they are going to be dangerous. And you can't sit here with that roster, that defense, and say that they're not capable of making it to the playoffs. They definitely are. Come on, they have Garrett Wilson. They added Mike Williams. I know Mike Williams is whatever, but they got Breece Hall coming in nice and healthy. And man, Breece Hall, he's going to end up being one of the top fantasy backs for sure this year. I mean, they had him listed all high up there. He's a stud. And this team, I think, is going to, if Rodgers can stay healthy, I think Rodgers can still play. And I think they're going to come out and they're going to compete for sure. So that's my team to watch. My player to watch, I'm picking like 2 awesome teams here. Is going to be David Montgomery from the Detroit Lions. If you guys remember, David Montgomery, him last season with Jahmyr Gibbs, they both finished over 1,000 receiving or rushing yards, and they both finished over 10 rushing touchdowns. They're one of the first duos ever in the NFL, both running backs to ever get that done. And I made sure in this fantasy draft that I picked David Montgomery because Jahmyr Gibbs throughout the preseason had a little nagging hamstring injury. And boy, if Gibbs misses some extended time, and Montgomery stays healthy, Montgomery is going to be a top 10 offensive player this season, no doubt. So that's my player to watch. David Montgomery.
Okay. All right. That's not bad. David Montgomery obviously did some good things in the beginning of his career. It's interesting to see how he parlays that into this season. So just going down the line here, I guess, Mr. T Jr., if you want to piggyback off anything they said, or who are you watching for?
So I'm going to double dip. It's going to be a player from the team to watch. So for me, the team to watch is going to be the Denver Broncos and how they handle their quarterback situation. Sean Payton, you know, he talked a bunch of shit about the old coaching staff comes in, shits the bed. They signed Russell Wilson to a $200 million plus deal. Now he's out doing things over there in Pittsburgh, being, you know, Mr. Incredible for the Steelers. So I think that's going to be really interesting to see how Sean Payton does, having his pick of the litter with the player to watch, which would be Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is a phenomenal athlete. I think he has a ton of experience playing at multiple schools, high-level caliber schools, SEC, Oregon for 2 years. He had 5 years of experience in the college level as a starter. I think he kind of just transitions right in. I think him and Sean Payton kind of match right up. And we might have, you know, the rebirth of a Drew Brees. It might be one of those things where Denver just goes elite for the next 10 years, or Bo Nix shits the bed and we get Zach Wilson, which I'm not upset with either because he's a good looking dude. So, but yeah, Bo Nix would be, who knows? I'm joking. Zach Wilson's garbage, dude. That dude's so bad. But yeah, Bo Nix, I think, is going to have a really good year. He was named a captain this year as well as a rookie, which I think speaks a lot. So, you know, I think he has one of those kind of silent but productive years to where it's not going to be CJ Stroud-esque, but it'll be, you know, one of those 20 touchdown, 7-8 interception, 3,000 yards.
One comment. First rookie quarterback to start for the Denver Broncos since John Elway. So that's crazy.
Really?
That's actually
wow.
Wild.
I didn't know that. That's crazy. Yeah, because I was thinking as he was saying that, I was like, the Broncos have been known for taking quarterbacks off the scrap heap. Of course, Peyton Manning, Russell Wilson. You know, who was that one guy? Doesn't matter. Broncos, yeah, Bo Nix. I got to see him play this last season against ASU when he was with Oregon. They absolutely demolished ASU. It was like 64-0 or something. Like, it was over at halftime. Bo Nix didn't play a single snap in the third quarter. I'm pretty sure dude had like 5 or 6 touchdown passes by halftime. Absolutely crazy. But similar to Caleb Williams, how is that going to translate to the NFL? You know, like, it was, yeah, Niko, thank you. It was Paxton Lynch that I was thinking of, the Broncos quarterback. Because he was young, but he wasn't. I guess he wasn't. Are you talking like season starter was John Elway, or just like starter at any point in time? Matt, you got that? You got that stat?
John Elway. Yeah, it looks like he was just the first, like the only time that they've had a rookie quarterback start for them.
Damn.
As far as, what was it, 19? What season?
Sorry, start the season week 1.
Yeah, week 1.
I was
like
gonna say,
the week
not
one
a
name
game,
starter.
not a game. Sorry,
not a game. Like the week 1 name starter.
More. They went into a season with a rookie quarterback as their starter.
Oh, that was VSP Tallman that said that. Sorry to put you on the spot, Matt.
I was looking it up to see if it was true.
To cover for your brother's misinformation there.
No, it was not misinformation.
We knew what you meant. We knew what he
framed.
Come on now.
Oh no, but yeah, Bo Nix, interesting choice there. I don't think the Broncos are going to be world beaters because I think they've just struggled to build. You know, I think they've just been stagnant. They've struggled to build any sort of offensive identity. Now they have the highest paid cornerback in the league, I guess, and what is it, Patrick Surtain. So maybe their defense is going to be looking up, and that'll help motivate the offense. I don't know, guys. But yeah, great choices. Niko, I'll go to you last here before I share some of my thoughts. Who are you watching out for this season?
It's funny, Mike has this up on the screen because the two that I picked before we even jumped in were I'm not going to go with the Bears, but the Bears were one of my teams to watch. The other one is the Indianapolis Colts, actually. I think that this football team like has a pretty decent chance at I mean, like, other than Houston, man, that division is kind of dog wash. I know that we talk about the Jags and all that kind of stuff. The Titans, I don't think the Titans are probably 3 years away from being relevant again. I think that with Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman and the surgence of Downs at wide receiver for Indianapolis, I think it could be like a really, really fun team to watch. And I think if they could actually make some noise. My second team that I am going to go with is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. There's a lot of moves that were made in Philly in order to ensure that the city of brotherly love has another parade happening where dog poop is licked and they have to grease the poles. I think that that's a big focal point, and kind of to what Mike was saying, like Saquon and Jalen Hurts being the focus of it. I'm very invested in Saquon. I took him in the first round of our straight ball and fantasy draft. So I need Saquon to act like a first round running back for me. But as far as players go, I'm very rookie centric this year. I've noticed and looked at a lot of my drafts and the 3 teams that I own. There's a lot of rookies. I got Ladd McConkey as my player to watch, gentlemen. San Diego. Ladd McConkey. That is my man. The number 1 receiver out of LA, gentlemen. There's been a lot of injuries to that wide receiving core, and I do think that like Ladd has a chance to like really insert himself as a like Puka Nacua type like year. He's going to see exponentially more targets than he saw at Georgia. You don't have Brock Bowers hogging the ball. I think that it's going to be a fun one to watch. My other player to watch is Rome fucking Odunze. Look out for him to take Keenan Allen's number 1 spot. Yes, Tallman, that is correct. I don't know, man. I feel that Rome has all the tools to be like a number 1 receiver in the league for many, 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 many years to come. If the Cardinals did not luck out and draft Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze is who I wanted. Honestly, any other draft where Marvin Harrison is not like available, like Rome Odunze is like the guy you're looking for. So I don't know. I think it's going to be really, really fun to watch this rookie class. I've got my eye on a pair of rookie receivers, and I got my eye on Philly and Indianapolis.
Hey, fair enough. I mean, this is a really good rookie class. I'll say probably one of the best we've had in the past couple of years. I do think that DJ Moore would have something to say about you calling Keenan Allen the number 1 receiver, but hey, who's to judge, right? I mean, I think that just kind of speaks to the weapons that Caleb has at his disposal. Even I think a lot of people expect Cole Kmet to take a big step forward. He's had a lot of hype surrounding him the past couple of years. So the Bears are a good one. For my short list here, I think I took a little bit of a different approach than you guys did, which is good. One of my teams to watch out for is the Buffalo Bills. And you might say, like, Chris, they're one of the top rated teams. They're expected to make the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. But who do they have, dude? Who do they have on their offense? Their number 1 wide receiver is Khalil Shakir. Curtis Samuel was good 5 years ago. Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid has been nothing but a disappointment. I just don't think they have the offensive firepower. They went 1-2 in preseason, and I know we don't put a lot of stock in preseason. I don't, you don't. That's fine. I just think the Bills are so highly overrated that I don't expect them to be as good as people think they're going to be. I mean, they really let a lot of their guys go. Tamar Hamlin, as good as he is, right, Mike? Right? I don't know. So Bills, I would watch out for them underperforming, not being good as the national media expects them to be. Again, another team that's projected to do good, and I think they're going to, as they are projected to do good, I think they're going to do even better, and maybe we'll see where I put them in my predictions here for the end of the season. The Detroit Lions, man, that team is dangerous. That team's dangerous. Jared Goff has had a resurgence there in Detroit. Sam Laporta is coming into his own. Amon-Ra St. Brown is very likely a top 5 receiver in this league. That team is really good offensively, and so they can outgun you if they have to. I think the Lions are definitely a team that's going to be right there in not just playoff contention, but Super Bowl contention for sure. And then lastly, I just have two players and kind of on a similar kind of vein. Justin Jefferson, I would watch out for him. I think that's a big question mark. What is he going to do without Kirk Cousins, with no JJ McCarthy, having Sam Darnold and whoever the hell else they might roll out there if Sam Darnold snaps his ankle or whatever? I think it is hard to imagine he doesn't take a step back stats wise, but not through any fault of his own, right? It's just going to be simply the quarterback and the person that's responsible for getting him the ball. You can scheme up all you want, but at the end of the day, if a team knows that Justin Jefferson's your biggest target, they're going to scheme around that. And if that ends up being Sam Darnold's comfort zone, or, guy that he relies on, Justin Jefferson, teams are going to pick up on that quickly and take advantage of it. So I think that scared me a lot, having him ranked so high fantasy wise in a couple of leagues I was drafting in. I really didn't want to have to draft him. I think I ended up getting him in one league, but it makes me nervous. Justin Jefferson, I don't expect him to put up the stats that he has before. And similarly, again, talking about guys that are ranked highly and rated highly, drafted highly in fantasy, Travis Kelce, man. Travis Kelce is about to be 35 years old. That guy is no spring chicken, Michael Benjamin. He is all up in the media. It didn't affect him last year. They got all the way to the Super Bowl, but a lot of people were speculating that he was going to retire with his brother at the same time after the Super Bowl, sail off into the sunset. Fix the chair for this bold prediction here, fellas. Him and Taylor Swift are going to break up by week 10. And it is going to completely derail the Chiefs season.
You didn't see the social media post about the breakup that's happening on September 28th, and there's an entire media plan.
Oh, it's in the script?
There's a literal script for the breakup that's supposed to happen, man.
See, I didn't even know that, but perfect. Even better. So
needless to say, you're not putting Travis Kelce in your top 5 NFL players, it sounds like.
No, I'm not putting him in the bottom 5, but I'm certainly not putting him in the top 5. I don't think he's going to be quite the bruiser he was before. I think what a lot of people, to put it in perspective, Travis Kelce is older than Rob Gronkowski. And that's really all.
Doesn't make sense, man.
Is he really?
He is.
Definitely is, yeah.
Dude, they abused poor Gronk.
Gronk's also kind of an idiot.
That dude.
He didn't play it smart at all. He just straight up
dude, he would have
tried
made
to bulldoze everybody. Just imagine if Aaron Hernandez wasn't a complete psychopath. Hot take. I don't know.
I mean, not really, dude. Statistically, the dude was killing it.
Dude, in playing,
how does Aaron Hernandez always find himself within our streams? This is
every single time. Every time.
It just always happens.
It's like a ghost in the room.
It's low hanging fruit, Mike. It's right for the picking. But I would just say, guys, all I gotta say is playing those old Maddens when the Patriots had that 1-2 combo where Gronk was like a 93 overall and Aaron Hernandez was like an 87. That shit was unstoppable. Like the 1-2 tight end combo is crazy. Might never see anything like that again. But yeah, so those are my players to watch, guys. I think that was pretty good, pretty diverse list we had there. I like it. So we got 2 more topics on the board. Let's see if we can kind of breeze through this next one here. It's our top 5 players list, which kind of goes hand in hand with our players to watch. Might be some overlap here, but let's keep the order going here. Mike, who are your top 5 players?
I love going first. I appreciate you, Chris. So when I looked at this list, I know a lot of people will kind of go off of fantasy, who scores the most points for your team on a week-to-week basis. Those are the best players in the league. I mean, a lot of these guys are going to kind of hit that mark, but I will say to start, I got one defensive player here, and he is on the graphic that you can see on the screen right now. Number 5, I got Myles Garrett, defensive end for the Cleveland Browns. Last year had 13 sacks through 11 games, and he was hampered by a shoulder injury, but he's had over 10 sacks 6 years in a row, over 12 the past 4. He's just an absolute monster. I think it's easy to say he's the best defensive end, best edge rusher in the NFL. Number 4, I had a tough time trying to decipher this one because I knew it was going to be a receiver, and I thought it was going to be Justin Jefferson. But Chris, I'm aligned with you, man. I'm just a little bit concerned on how he finished last year. Only played 10 games, only 68 catches, but he did, when Kirk Cousins went down, it was a whole different story as well. But number 4, I got CeeDee Lamb. The guy just got paid 135 catches, guys. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous when you think of terms for a receiver. And 181 targets last year, almost 1,800 yards, 12 touchdowns. 4th year in the league, he's had over 70 catches every year, over 100 the last 2 years. And the guy got paid. He is Dak's number 1 target in Dallas, and they didn't really add any weapons, so expect him to have another absolutely stellar year where he can bump up on this list. Number 3, I went with the cheetah, Tyreek Hill. He was actually the first receiver to grace NFL's top 100 list as the number 1 player in their 14-year history. He was 1 yard shy of 1,800 yards last year, 13 touchdowns. Let's be honest, he might beat Megatron's single season record coming up because he's still at the top of his game. It's crazy. And then there was no way in hell I was going to include a 49ers player on my list, fellas. So my top 2 guys, I got Lamar Jackson, career high in completions, pass attempts, completed 67.2% of his passes last year. Just absolutely stellar. Won his 2nd MVP, absolutely deserving of. And then we know who number 1 is. It's Patrick Mahomes, the 2-time MVP, 3-time Super Bowl MVP. Last year was a little bit down of a year in the regular season. Almost 4,200 yards, 27 touchdowns. He did have a career high in 14 interceptions last year, just because it was a real tough start for the Kansas City Chiefs and him getting on the same page with his receivers. But he did. And he's the number 1 guy, fellas, until when you win back-to-back and you're the Super Bowl MVP, I'm sorry. And you're a quarterback who controls the offense, you are the best player in the league. It's Patrick Mahomes. That was a very, very easy decision. So that's my top 5.
Pretty solid top 5 there, Michael Benjamin. And guys, don't be afraid to overlap. These don't have to be completely unique. So Tallman, that was mostly for you. Who you got in your top 5?
Yeah, there's gonna be some overlap. So mine's pretty much the same as Mike's, maybe a little out of order, but except for one. My number 5, it's going to be a different edge rusher. It's painful to say, but it's TJ Watt. I think he's the best defensive end in the game. I mean, if you just look at the stats of that defense when he's not on the field versus when he is, it's unbelievable. There's no doubt he's the most valuable player on that team. And he's just an absolute monster. But so, yeah, I picked the Steeler player as number 5. And the Mike, you're going to be disappointed. I do have a 49ers player later in my list. But number 4, I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb. You already heard it from Mike. I mean, just the production he had last season was ridiculous. Number 3, I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey with the 49ers. I mean, you can't – the dude was – he when you were trying to bet on who was going to score a touchdown last season, it was – dude, Christian McCaffrey scored touchdown was minus 300 in most of his games. Like, you know how crazy that is? Those are some terrible odds for someone to score a touchdown. It's because he scored every single game. We saw what he did to the Cardinals. The dude is just an absolute stud. So he belongs on this list. And I think there's a reason why you put him in the graphic too. But number 2, I'm going to pick Tyreek Hill. I mean, you mentioned he's got a really solid chance to break that record of Calvin Johnson. I mean, dude, if he didn't get hurt last season, who knows, man? I mean, he missed. I know he missed 2 games. I think he missed 2 games at the end, or he missed a game and a half, something like that. But he's just so fun to watch. He's also very fun to bet on because he just racks it up. Number 1. I mean, come on, it's Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you listened earlier, very early on in the stream. I already said why he's the best. It's because he plays the best at the most important times of every single game, every single season recently. And the guy is just a winner. And if he's that player, if we were all starting over and you had the first pick to start a franchise, you're picking Patrick Mahomes to be your quarterback. There's no doubt about it. So that's my top 5.
Pretty solid top 5 list, honestly. And I'm going to jump in here. I'm not going to go last. and I have the privilege to do that because I'm in control. I am the captain. Look at me. I am the captain now. So, Tallman, I think going to be pretty similar to you in a lot of ways. So I guess we're doing 5-1. So I'll start number 5. Joe Burrow, guys. He missed pretty much all of last season. I think he is, what do they say? Minor setback for a major comeback. I think Joe Burrow is going to be on his revenge tour. He's got the Slim Shady haircut, totally locked in. They got Jamar Chase secured. I think that Joe Burrow is going to be a man on a mission and definitely is going to be a top 5 quarterback without a doubt. So as Matt said, Joe Burrow, I'm gonna Joe Burrow, and just go watch our draft stream and you'll know what I'm talking about. Number 4 has to be TJ Watt, right? Right, Tallman? 19 sacks last year. Like 2 seasons before in 2021, he had like 23 sacks or 22 sacks, something crazy. This dude is a sack machine. The anchor of that Steelers defense gotta be TJ Watt, man. Number 3, Patrick Mahomes. I'm gonna put Patrick Mahomes at number 3 because we know what he can do, guys. Like, right, he's top 1. It depends, 1 or 2. A lot of people are saying him or Josh Allen are the best quarterbacks in the league. Patrick Mahomes, he could be number 1, could be, right? I think my number 2 is going to surprise you guys, and I could be way off base here, and I likely am, but I expect a complete resurgence of Derrick Henry in Baltimore. We saw him play his entire career in Tennessee. He's 30 years old, might be past his prime, right, Tallman? But King Henry coming back, fully healthy, ready to go with a strong offense because they got weapons. It's not like in Tennessee where you knew they had to put it on the ground because they had no air attack. The Ravens have an air attack, but they also have Lamar Jackson. So there's going to be a lot of options, a lot of fakes that they'll be able to run. And I think that'll open the field up for Derrick Henry to have a big season, which scares me because fantasy-wise, I don't have him in any leagues, guys. So completely unbiased opinion here. And lastly, guys, it's got to be Christian McCaffrey, right? Barring an injury, this dude is going to be the best running back in the league. Once again, Tallman mentioned the betting odds. -300 for 1 touchdown is crazy. You almost have to bet on him to get 2 touchdowns just to make it worth your while to even bet on it, which sounds crazy, but it's really not because he's just that good, man. The way he cuts, his speed, his intelligence as a runner and a football player is unparalleled, not to mention the fact that he is able to catch it out of the backfield, which is something that's very valuable in a running back, especially in an offense like the 49ers run. So that has to be my top 5. But sorry for jumping in, fellas. So Matt, Mr. T Jr., who are your top 5 players?
No, I mean, you're allowed to jump in. Like you said, you run the show. So that's the beauty of running it. You get to choose when you get to do things. So top 5. So number 5, I'm going to stick with the defensive side, which is kind of gross to say this. Going with the Dallas Cowboy and Micah Parsons. I think Micah Parsons is an absolute fucking stud. I hate the Dallas Cowboys, so this is really hard to say. I saw that he had lost about 15 pounds. They're going to line him up on the edge. So he's going to be that quick edge rusher. He is one of 2 players since sacks were recorded in 1982 to have at least 2, or his first 2 seasons, or first 3 seasons, mind you, to have 12 sacks. The only other player to do that is Reggie White. So I'm seeing him to have that same trend. Jesus, I cannot talk. To keep those sacks going. I see him having a great year for the Cowboys with CeeDee Lamb and everybody like that. Number 4, I'm going to go with Jamar Chase. I got to give some love to Jamar Chase, make my fantasy team. I hope to God he does good with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow. Just Joe Burrow. I'm
going to Joe Burrow.
Just Joe Burrow. But no, he's locked in, dude. He got that contract. He got paid. I see him just riding with Burrow to have that great season. I know I said this during the draft. I think, like Chris was saying, he's coming back, dude. Everybody's writing him off. I think he's an absolute stud. So I think he's going to just produce with Jamar Chase. Chase is one of 4 players in NFL history to have at least 80 receptions and 1,000 receiving yards in his first 3 seasons. The only other players to do that's Justin Jefferson, Michael Thomas, and OBJ. So it's a good company, I suppose you could have. Number 3, I'm going to go against the quarterback for the Cardinals' Week 1 opponent, Josh Allen. I know a lot of people don't like Josh Allen. I know he has a little bit of trouble holding onto the ball. a little bit of a turnover problem. But the dude's he's one of those guys. He's got the Mahomes. He's not quite Mahomes, but he can kind of change the game a little bit with his legs. He can do these kind of things where he can throw across his body a little bit, just stuff that's not your traditional quarterback play. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I hope he sucks week 1, but I think throughout the season, he's one of those dudes that makes the people around him play a lot better. I know that they got rid of a lot of their receivers, but I think James Cook's going to be a pretty good running back out of the backfield to take a little bit of the pressure off him. Number 2, I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey, which sucks because I don't want to do a 49er, but it's hard to root against Christian McCaffrey, man. The dude, he was a great running back for the Panthers. He wrote it out. You never heard anything bad, and that dude got ran into the ground, and now he's getting his flowers. So it's nice to see that. He did lead the NFL in touches last year with 339 and over 2,000 scrimmage yards. And like Cody said, or VSP, he kind of sucks to bet on because that dude is an automatic tally for a touchdown basically every freaking week. But yeah, last year marked McCaffrey's 4th season with at least 1,000 rushing yards and 500 receiving yards. He's tied with Tiki Barber and Thurman Thomas for second most all time, only trailing Marshall Faulk. So again, good company to have. You can never be mad when you're mentioned with those names. And last but not least, number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Until he just shows anything different, man, that guy, he just locks in. He could be freaking I forget what injury he had. That dude was beat to hell last season and just continues to play and continues to produce, does stuff that you do not normally see a quarterback do. Everybody said when Tyreek Hill left that it was over. It wasn't going to be the same offense. How are they going to do it? I think it's going to be interesting. I didn't know Kelce is older than Rob Gronkowski, so that's pretty wild. That's actually pretty bonkers to think about. So it'll be interesting. It'll be weird to see how that works. But yeah, until he does anything different, man, the guy might be at the end of his career the best quarterback to play, depending on how he continues to do his Super Bowl thing. So yeah, Pat Mahomes, number 1.
I was just going to type it in our little private chat, but I actually just realized that I was wrong about that. Rob Gronkowski is older than Travis Kelce, but only by a year. Gronk's 35, Kelce's 34, and Kelce's about to be 35. So it's pretty close. But even still, I mean, when you consider how long Gronkowski's been out of the league now, 2-3 seasons? And with Tampa Bay, can you really say that he had that big of an impact with them? I don't know. But guys, last, certainly not least, our cousin Niko. What you got, brother?
All right, guys. So I kind of took it as this is the top 5 for this upcoming year. The number 5 spot, I have somebody who I feel like is criminally underrated. It's going to be Max Crosby. I think that Raiders defense is not a defense without Max Crosby. I think you put Max Crosby on any other team in the NFL, and we're talking we are talking a top 5 player. Number 4, I have TJ Watt. Sorry, Mike. I think we all pretty much have said what we can say about TJ Watt, but I think absolutely the best defensive player in the league, hands down. That makes it a little tough now because we got 3 spots left, and there are more than enough deserving guys here. At 3, I got to go CeeDee Lamb. I think I've been following CD since he was at Oklahoma. Extremely fun to watch. I really wanted the Cardinals to draft CD when we had the opportunity, but I guess we didn't really have the opportunity. The Cowboys snagged him before we could. But I love CeeDee Lamb. At number 2, I have Patrick Mahomes, and the only reason that Patty is not number 1 is because we saw cracks in the Chiefs' armor last year. And I think this dude is poised to have a career and historic year. And number 1 is Tyreek Hill. Because I do think Tyreek is coming for Megatron this year. And I think that Tyreek is going to be hard to stop in that Miami offense. given everybody being healthy. Tyreek Hill is my number one NFL player this year.
Okay. I like Tyreek Hill a lot. I had him as, when we still did keepers, I had him as my keeper last year. Very likely would have kept him as my keeper this year. He does have Mr. CTE Tua Tagovailoa thrown to him, so we'll see. We'll see how he holds up. Could be a similar situation as Justin Jefferson by the end of the season, but Tyreek Hill's a beast. He's probably the fastest receiver in the NFL. Good hands, and basically everything you're looking for in a wide receiver. That's Tyreek Hill. So solid top 5 list, gentlemen. I think quite a bit of overlap there. Not surprising, but the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time for us to make our Super Bowl predictions. How is this 2024-2025 season going to finish in February? Does anybody know where the Super Bowl is this year? I didn't look it up.
It is in Louisiana at the
New Orleans
Superdome.
Nolans. Hell yeah.
Sure.
I didn't know it was the Caesars Superdome now. That's pretty cool. Imagine if Tallman makes his way there. They probably got a Caesars sports book. He could go play some bets.
I've been to that casino. It's very close.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, it's been Caesars Superdome for a while. No, it was Mercedes.
It was Mercedes longest time, right?
When they got a bath. But I hate that city. I'm sorry.
They got a bath. They need a bath. Like a dirty fucking place.
Tallman, I feel like you're a little bit biased.
Biased? Yeah, I am.
Nah, but that's fair. It looks like they've been the Caesars Superdome since 2021. Mercedes ended their sponsorship in 2011, and then they were just the Superdome, unsponsored, just the Superdome for like 10 years. But yeah, interesting. Very interesting. I got a little off track there talking about how dirty New Orleans is. We're talking about our Super Bowl predictions, right?
It's dirty. I'm telling you.
So I won't cut up. I'll go last. I'm going to go last this time, fellas, but I'm going to let Michael Benjamin go first because he loves it so much and he's so good at it.
Oh yeah, baby. Let's go. All right. This was a tough one, fellas. I mean, you look at the odds here that is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. I mean, you got to be shitting me with the Buffalo Bills at plus 900. Chris, I'm aligned with you. Unless Josh Allen just absolutely supermans it this year, there's no way that the Buffalo Bills are coming out of the AFC. But I will start with the NFC, and I'm going to say my championship game. I think the championship game is going to be 49ers versus Detroit. Once again, it's going to be and this time I think it's going to go differently. I think the Detroit Lions have been on the absolute uphill climb, doing everything right under Dan Campbell. Another year of getting Jahmyr Gibbs, just an absolute weapon in the backfield. Get him involved in space, throw him the football, a full season with Jamison Williams. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a top 10 player in this league right now, fellas. He unfortunately didn't make my top 5, but he's a top 10 player. I think the Detroit Lions figure it out this year and are able to get over the hump. And they don't screw the pooch this time. And they make it to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. And then out of the AFC, is it sad to say rematch both times again? Chiefs versus Ravens, but I'm going double. I'm double it down. The Baltimore Ravens are going to make the Super Bowl. Just look at oh my God. I can't believe how good this team is probably going to be this year, guys. I'm telling you, Lamar Jackson, second MVP season. And Chris, I'm 100% aligned with you. I can't believe that you put him in your top 5, but it could honestly be the truth. Derrick Henry is an absolute difference maker for that offense, right? You have high expectations for Zay Flowers. Rashad Bateman's okay. I don't love Nelson Aguilar as their third receiver, but that's okay. You got one of the best tight ends in Mark Andrews. Isaiah Likely had a mini coming out party last year. You're going to be able to run the football down their throats. One of the only teams that has a fullback in Patrick Ricard as well. But that defense, Roquan Smith is just a stellar inside linebacker. I love Odafe Owe on that weak side. And their secondary, man, one of the best corners with Marlon Humphreys, and one of the best safeties with Kyle Hamilton. I don't think there's any way that they don't figure it out once again, the same way that I'm talking about the Detroit Lions. So I got Lions, Ravens Super Bowl matchup for, what is this, 54? And I got the Baltimore Ravens winning this year. That's my Super Bowl prediction. Should I throw a number on it, a final score on it, Chris? We'll say
Yeah, tiebreaker.
35-31 Ravens. How about that?
I like it. Not bad. Oh, hey, I don't think it's unrealistic. VSP Tallman, is your prediction any different? Who you got?
For one league, it is. We'll start national. I got the same two teams. I mean, I've already said a bunch. Everyone else has said a bunch about how good the 49ers are and how high we are in the Lions. But I have the 49ers going to the Super Bowl. I said earlier that they're a Super Bowl lock, so I'm going to stick with that. Let's switch over. I'm going to go American here. AFC. I just said American. Sorry, I'm reading my screen. I went a little crazy with this one. I don't have the Chiefs. The 3-peat is going to die in the divisional round. How about that? But I have Dolphins and the Ravens. See, I didn't pick the Jets, but I don't have to pick the Jets. I'm going to pick the Dolphins. Okay. Dolphins, Ravens. I think so. The Dolphins, all they got to do is they have to wrangle some of these this home field advantage games in the playoffs so that they don't have to go to KC when it's minus 10 degrees and they can play in nice warm Miami, because that is we know what the Dolphins do when they play in cold weather. They're not good. So I'm going to go out I'm going to have another terrible prediction again this year, because why the hell not? I'm going to have the Dolphins beating the Ravens in the championship. So I have a 49ers Dolphins Super Bowl and dirty ass New Orleans. Excuse me.
All right. Let's take it easy on that.
I know. But I'm going to give the nod to the 49ers. 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl. Prediction on the score, I don't know. 24-21, 49ers.
What do you say, 21, 40? Wait, what?
24-21.
Oh, 24-21. Okay. 49ers over the Dolphins?
That is correct.
Okay, I'm trying to make these notes so we can revisit this later when I accurately predict the Super Bowl winner once again. Just got to make sure it's on the record here. Of course, we'll be able to listen back to this. Our YouTube channel's not going anywhere as long as you don't say anything crazy that gets us kicked off YouTube. I'm looking at the Tallman twins over here. Well, I guess as I say that, I'm going to give the floor to Mr. T Jr. so he can share with us his predictions. Oh, God.
That city's disgusting, and they need another bath. No, I'm joking. They don't need that. That was probably one of the worst things that's happened to them economically in 50 years. Anyways, I think we're going to see a lot of a repeat of what the NFC looked like last year. I think it's going to be the 49ers show. I think it doesn't really matter who the fucking 49ers play to get to the Super Bowl, because they're going to get to the Super Bowl. Hard to bet against them in that sense. So I have 49ers getting to the Super Bowl. AFC, I'm going to say the Jets, dude. I'm going to say the Jets are going to play against the Chiefs, and the Jets are going to go to the Super Bowl. And it's going to be a Jets Super Bowl, and the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl. I know I'm riding Cody's coattails from last year, but I'm drinking the fucking Kool-Aid, dude. Sauce Gardner is going to be he's going to be an all-pro defensive back. They're going to make the deal with Hassan Reddick, and he's going to come play for them. And he's going to show up week 2 and have another 15-sack season. And then Garrett Wilson's going to go for 1,300 yards because Aaron Rodgers is going to have a 2018 rebirth like a phoenix. He's going to come out of the egg and just burn. It's going to be a 28-24 Jets.
I didn't realize. Was I not muted that whole time? I guess one of the Tallmans was. You hear me clacking away over here. One of the Tallmans had to choose the Jets. I'm glad you fell on that sword for your brother. That's very noble of you. So goddamn. I'm sorry, I wasn't fully paying attention. You said Jets. What was your final score?
28-24 Jets.
28-24. Like I said, got to get this on the record. Got to make sure we can have a reference point here. So, Niko, I'll go to you second to last this time. What are your predictions for the Super Bowl?
It's, I'm not to like the NFC, not to beat the already dead horse, but I have the Niners and the Lions. I have the Lions beating the Niners as well, because I don't think Brock Purdy has what it takes to get the job done. End of story. I just don't think that he's got it. Sorry, Tallman. I really know you love him so much, but I don't think he's got what it takes. Do I want to see the fans of Detroit rip Detroit to shreds so they can build this new city? Like, are you kidding me? Can you imagine what's going to happen in Detroit if the Lions make the Super Bowl? I mean, good night, Irene. They cried when they won their first, and I get it, guys. We're Cardinals fans here. We have all had emotional playoff wins. I remember the Super Bowl trip very well, very emotional. But, like, man, Detroit, a city that is starving for something semi-successful in any way, shape, or form that is not named Marshall Mathers, is they would absolutely tear the place apart. There's Tallman and his best friend Brock Purdy.
Get that off the screen immediately.
He looks like a
unbelievable.
I look like I'm like 5 blunts deep in this picture.
Yeah,
Good.
Purdy looks like he got out of a Bible study.
Yeah,
I look like a linebacker compared to him, and
He was wearing
kicking
boots.
our
Yeah,
ass.
you can see his boots.
Oh,
right?
dude,
Yeah.
he's tiny. Brock Purdy's short.
Yeah,
He's
Brock
like 6
Purdy's
foot.
my height, boys.
He's like 6'1". Yeah, he's not that big.
Little guy.
No, but coming out of the AFC, it gets a little shaky in the AFC, man. I think you have a little bit more room for wiggle here. I have Baltimore because I think it's hard to choose against Baltimore right now. That being said, it's hard to choose against the Chiefs right now. But I'm going to do it. The Chiefs are going to fucking choke. They're not going to get into the AFC Championship game because they're going to walk into Miami and lose to the Dolphins. The Dolphins are going to run the Ravens out of Baltimore, in the wintertime. The Dolphins are finally going to get over the hump, and they're going to be in the Super Bowl to put all this color coding bullshit to shame that they do with the Super Bowl logo. We are going to go Miami, Detroit Super Bowl with Detroit winning, gentlemen, by 3 points. I have a 24-21 football game in New Orleans.
Okay, this is interesting. It looks like so far we all have a close game within less than a touchdown for the final score, which definitely would make for an exciting Super Bowl. And I love a close Super Bowl. I hate the blowouts, man. There's nothing I hate more than blowout. Probably the worst Super Bowl I've ever seen in my life was when the Colts played the Bears in the rain. Probably the what was that, 2007, 2008, something like that. 2006 maybe, I don't know. Dog shit. It's so forgettable, nobody even remembers. It's that irrelevant. But wow, so we have, you guys went, all 4 of you went different teams. Mike has the Ravens 35-31. VSP Tallman has the 49ers 24-21. Mr. T Jr. has the Jets 28-24, and Niko, of course, the Lions 24-21. Man, oh man, guys, like I've said a couple times,
I was going to pick the Chiefs.
I picked the winner last year. So I think I have a pretty good football mind, right? And I align myself with people who also have really good football minds. So I am really shocked here. I'm just going to start. I think the NFC title game is going to be the 49ers and the Detroit Lions. And the Detroit Lions are going to win that game, guys. The wheels are going to fall off this 49ers team. They're going to get figured out. They may even have an injury. I know that's possible for any of these teams, obviously, but I don't think the 49ers have the big, I don't think they have it all together to be able to make that Super Bowl push again. Could totally be wrong. Very likely am. But the Lions, man, I will say that I am high on the Lions. I said it in my, what was it, in our top 5 players list, or was that the teams? No, that was our teams and players to watch when we were going over that. The Lions, man, watch out for them. They are going to be in this Super Bowl, and they're going to go against the AFC winner, which is going to be between the Ravens and the Chiefs, right, Tallman? The Chiefs, right, Tallman? But no, The Ravens are going to beat the Chiefs because the Ravens have reloaded, they're restocked, they're going to be healthy. And as much as it pains me to say, because I don't like the Ravens, guys, I don't like the Ravens probably as much as I don't like the 49ers. And so that's a lot. That's a lot for me to say that the Ravens are going to make the Super Bowl. So we're looking at Lions-Ravens Super Bowl. Guys, this might be sounding familiar because this is exactly what Michael Benjamin said. And I'm over here laughing my ass off because, Mike, I 100% agree with you, dog. It's going to be a Ravens Super Bowl win. It's going to be a Ravens Super Bowl, man. And I hate it. And I hate it. Yes, Mike has the mini helmet. He ate some ice cream out of it. He got his double scoop, Joe Biden style. He loves the Ravens, but I don't love the Ravens. So me saying that the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl. So for the tiebreaker, I guess I have to go with a slightly different variation of the final score here. So I'm going to say the Ravens are going to beat the Lions 31-24. Be 31-24. Ravens Super Bowl. I hate it. I hate it a lot. But Mike, we're pretty smart. We're pretty smart.
You see how he said he aligns himself with true football people who have knowledge, and that's me. Do you guys know who this is? You guys got to know who this is, right?
You guys planned this.
Is that Terrell Suggs?
Absolutely.
I was going to say, it's the only one that he has. It's the only.
Come on now. Yeah, who else am I going to have?
I was
Chris,
going to say.
nice pick. Let's go, man. I know it pains you, but Baltimore Ravens, man, they just reloaded. They're ready to rock this year, man.
Yeah, man. I think that they're just going to be on another level. And obviously, again, I'll say it, barring injury, they're going to be a very dangerous team. They're probably going to win the AFC North. They're definitely going to win the AFC. Guys, great predictions. I love that almost all of us chose different teams. 3 of us chose wrong. 2 of us chose right. It's just how it goes. We'll follow up in February, see how that all shakes out. But fellas, we've gone long. This has been a long stream. So I do want to get out of here now, but I also want to give you each the floor for your final thoughts on the upcoming season, which is less than 24 hours away, boys. So I guess let's start with our special guest first and work our way back. Niko, what are your final thoughts, man?
Honestly, I'm fucking excited, man. It's that time of the year. Optimism is high. No team is out of it yet. We are in week 1. As Cardinals fans, we know that this is the best time of the year for us because nothing has happened to absolutely demoralize us yet. I am fucking pumped. I'm ready for Sunday. I am so ready to just turn shit on and not move and enjoy football and watch my fantasy team. I mean, look, boys, I know that we got one more sleep till football. We got a couple more sleeps till Cardinal football. I am going to be giddy with anticipation. So shout out fucking Cardinal football. Looking forward to seeing what the Diamondbacks can do with the rest of the season. That's pretty much where my focus is right now. That, and of course, our Valley Plugs softball team is going to get together tomorrow to do a little practice to knock the dust off since we haven't played in a little bit. So, yeah, man, I'm fucking pumped. I'm ready. It's a fun week to be a Valley Sports Plug member.
Man, I hate the summer, guys. I hate the summer, and we're heading into the fall. One of my favorite seasons, second only to winter. But fall, man, football starting. I can already hear a million screams of wives, girlfriends, and fiancés everywhere, absolutely shitting themselves. Their Sunday is gone, and they're just gonna have to be okay with that. You got what? September, October, November, December, January, 6 months. What? Half the year. What is half the year to give up to your significant other? It's nothing. It's nothing. I'm fucking stoked, Niko. I'm right there with you, Matt. What are your last thoughts, bro? Does he sound like a chipmunk for you guys?
Yeah.
Is that Alien vs. Predator? Oh my God, they're going to get attacked.
Was crazy.
Oh, no.
Oh, I thought you were going to eat us. Oh, yeah.
All right, we'll circle back. We'll circle back to Mr. T Jr. here. VSP Tallman, what do you got?
Oh, man. All right, so I just got to take a moment to save face, all right? New Orleans is not that bad. It's got a lot of history. It's actually extremely fun city. It's a little dirty, but it's incredible. Bourbon Street's awesome. It's a place that I'd recommend visiting once, but that's about it. But nothing but love for New Orleans. It's okay. All right. I'm sorry if I offended anybody.
Maybe just put your phone on a leash next time, or like,
That's a good point. Yeah.
Don't get so fucked up that you're letting
Hey.
strangers steal your phone.
How about you? All right. You try going there and not getting fucked up. I'm telling you, it's a whole different monster, that city.
Well, I guess if nothing else, you learned a lesson. So if you ever find yourself on Bourbon Street again, you'll have a better strategy.
I'll show you guys the ropes.
Maybe worry. Just like get a burner. Maybe don't even take your phone. Get a burner for like just in case. Like just go to.
I'm just gonna leave it in the hotel room.
The last person I trust to be showing me any ropes is Tallman. This great.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure there's a few ropes, Michael.
Oh Lord, Matt, Mr. T, do you want to try again?
Test.
He's back.
We're good.
Am I back?
Yeah,
yes. I don't know what that was, dude. Yeah, Mike, don't buy this microphone. This thing sucks. Yeah, football, dudes. I'm excited. I'm excited for that to be back. I'm excited for it to not be 115 degrees. I say that when it's supposed to be 115 degrees tomorrow. But yeah, man, I'm just giddy for football to start. I want to have that Sunday morning where I wake up, know that the game's on at 10 a.m., get a few things done, have some coffee in my hand, and just watch us get destroyed by the Buffalo Bills. Not going to happen. Also, shout out September 14th, Saturday, Sean O'Malley's fight in Las Vegas Sphere, UFC 306. I'm really curious to see how they use that space for a sporting event. So it'll be really cool to watch that. But aside from that, it's football time.
Now, what are you doing over here talking about UFC?
I know.
That will be dope though. That'll be dope. The Sphere is very interesting. I've heard they have like a ton of unsold tickets though, so it's kind of like
I would imagine it's got to be fucking like
because they're $1 million
price.
Yeah. That makes sense. But Mike, you next, brother. What you got?
Gentlemen, the truth of the matter is, as Arizona Cardinals fan, even when the preseason started, we have still been waiting. We haven't seen anyone from this team play yet. I cannot tell you how excited I am for Sunday. We have 4 more sleeps. I know we have 1 more sleep for tomorrow, but I'm counting that 4 more sleeps. I need to see this Arizona Cardinals team play. I'm so damn excited. Fellas, it's always a pleasure. Had a lot of fun today chopping it up, talking about who we're watching, Super Bowl predictions. Chris, you always are the captain. He is the captain now. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you all for joining us on this live stream. Of course, my dynamic duo here, Mr. Benjamin and VSP Tallman. Of course, host of the Valley of the Suplex podcast, Niko, newest host in the VSP family. If you haven't already, make sure you go and check out Valley of the Suplex on our YouTube channel. It is everything pro wrestling, WWE, AEW, NXT, TNA. If it's pro wrestling, we're going to cover it at some capacity at some point. When we launched, we were like, we're going to do this once a month, guys. Once a month, start slow. And after our first recording, we're like, we got to do this at least every 2 weeks. So I wouldn't be surprised if a year from now, we're doing this once a week, guys. To be completely honest, the sport moves so fast. And it's been fun for me getting back into it. I probably stopped watching about 2008, 2009. And so just getting back into it now and being able to have this platform to air my thoughts on it and have the insight of my brother, Matt, not Mr. T Jr., Matt. He's another a reoccurring host or guest on that show, if you want to call him. But we have a lot of fun over there, so make sure you check it out. Anyone who stayed until almost the 2-hour mark, whether you're watching with us live right now or you're listening on a playback, we thank you so much for being here. Make sure you like and subscribe while you are here. Really helps us out a lot. Share this with your friend on your Facebook, on your Twitter, wherever you have to. And you can follow us at AZ_VSP on Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, anywhere that you can follow us. We are probably there. And so just Google Valley Sports Plug. You'll find our link tree. You'll find us, and you'll be able to stay up to date with all the Valley Sports action and everything we do here at VSP. But for the gang, I have to thank you all one last time for being here. I'm fucking stoked for the NFL season. It's finally here, and I just can't wait till Sunday, guys. So for Mr. Benjamin, VSP Tallman, Niko, Mr. T Jr., and myself, Chris Patrick, we'll see you next time. Peace.
Long live Kirkland.
We ready. We ready for y'all. We ready.